Hey guys, it's me John, and welcome to the first video on the channel. This channel is probably going to be based around CSGO and Reddit readings. It's probably going to be on Reddit readings because I have no ideas for content on CSGO. So anyway, we have a couple of stories for you today at r/entitledparents. The first one is a really great one, and I hope you guys will enjoy. Let's get into the stories. Backstory. This happened when I was 15 and I just moved to a new high school and knew no one. Due to my first name and appearance, everyone assumed I was a boy without asking or at least trying to figure out. My first name was a unisex name and most commonly used by boys, and I wear clothes from the boys section because I like the style. I was also flat-chested. So yeah, everyone thought I was a boy. I didn't care though, I'm not gender fluid or anything. I was born female and no one was doing it maliciously. I was also too socially awkward to correct anyone. Actual story. About 2 weeks after I came to the school, there was an art contest, nature themed. Being the loner I was, I spent a lot of time outside, which made the contest perfect for me. I drew a bear in a cave hibernating with leaves falling around it, and a ghost-like drawing of the bear's ancestors in the background. Another girl drew a picture of a bunch of deer running around through a field. This girl was the entitled girl, and as awful as this girl was, I thought her art was beautiful. Such talent wasted on her. One guy I knew pretty well drew a dog stalking a fox that was stalking a rabbit. Stalking guy, SG. Everyone else, like 4 other people, did casual stuff like field of flowers, birds and tree, and another guy drew a picture of a squirrel giving birth. Sadly, it wasn't that detailed. Entitled girl looked at my drawing. You know, it would look a lot better if you spent more time on the rock? She smiled innocently while gesturing at the bear. That's not a rock, it's a bear. Ooh, gotcha. Sometimes boys draw so vague and abstractly. Not a lot of primary contrast. Yeah, she said a lot of art-related words to sound smart. Primary contrast? If you don't understand it now, you'll never get it. She waved her hand dismissively and walked away. The contest host announced the 3 winners. Those 3 would advance to the next round. SG got first, I got second, and the entitled girl got third. Now, SG was super popular, and so she went up and congratulated him while glaring at me. After she left, I talked to SG for a bit. The next day, I get to my locker, and rapist is written across it in red paint. Everyone is staring at me, whispering. Entitled girl walked by with a security guard. That's him. That's the boy who raped me. I'm asked to go with him, and I do. People were screaming at me and calling me names. Someone threw a half-eaten burger at me. McDonald's morning cravings, I guess. We get to the office, and entitled girl's mom is standing next to the principal, P, desk with the smuggest look on her face. Do you know why you're here? I think so. Don't play game with me, you little poop. You raped my daughter. Fake crying. Yeah, he did. Do you? No. Entitled mom. Don't lie, you held her down and raped her. Me. With what? With their penis, how else? Principal, I don't know what to say other than she's lying. No, I'm not. My friends witness it. F1 and F2 got called to the office. Friend 1 and friend 2. Your parents are on their way. Do you want to wait for them? No, I want to hear what friend 1 and friend 2 have to say. They tell the story about how I raped an entitled girl outside the back of the school. Keeping it short and simple. I started to laugh. Entitled mom, how dare you? You raped my angel and then you laugh at her? You should be kicked out of the art contest. I'm still laughing. The room has gone silent apart from me. Principal, quiet. He's effing livid and starts tearing me a new one. Well, he would have if I did it. Then SG walked in with papers for P. He looks around at all of us. Is this a bad time? Me, hey SG, tell him what we did last night. We got food and watched a movie at my place? Entitled mom, liar! You probably raped my sweetheart as well. Entitled girl freaks out. Entitled girl, no mom, he didn't, just me. SG did nothing wrong, I promise. Principal, but if she was with SG, how did she rape you? Entitled mom, are you calling her a liar? Just kick him from the contest and we won't sue. Me, sorry, but the way you describe what happened makes it impossible for me to do it. Entitled mom, what do you mean? Are you calling me a liar? Yes. This boy, I'm not a boy. The room fell quiet again. The girl's entitled mom's face went white. Pete looked confused and SG had a look of realization. Oh, so that's why you wear PE clothes under your normal clothes. Entitled mom goes ballistic, screaming and shouting about how I'm lying. My parents get here and they confirm that I'm a girl. Entitled mom got chewed out by her principal and kicked off the parent association thing, while entitled girl and her poopy friends were suspended for a week. Entitled girl was kicked from the contest and banned from participating in any of them for the rest of the year, and she had to pay for the paint to be cleaned off. I'm in my junior year at that school, and some people from my year are still debating on my real sex and gender. Entitled mom gets her daughter, and her friends get to accuse me of rape, and I demand to be kicked from our contest. Everyone finds out my true sex and gender. Our second story is entitled Mother and Daughter Ruin Wedding Proposal. In this story, I'm going to leave out some details and things that were said, mainly because most of it gets off track from the point I want to say and are just too rude and childish for me to explain and mention. This happened a few days ago, last week. It was the first warm, sunny day we had in a while, so my friends decided to go to the park and hang out. It was Saturday, and most of us didn't have work that day. We bring some food, football, having a good time. There are also some families, people walking on the trails, kids at the swings and jungle gym, etc. Just a nice day. We're at the picnic table eating, having dessert, when a friend suddenly stands up and says he has something to announce. He then turns to his girlfriend that he's been dating since grade 10 and proposes with a ring. Surrounded by friends and beautiful scenery, lovely time and place. His girlfriend gets all teary-eyed and says yes. Hooray! We cheer and congratulate as he puts the ring on her finger. A little while later is when entitled mother and daughter walk up to us. Entitled daughter must have been about 10 or so years older than any of us, and it amazed me how she acted like a 5-year-old wanting a toy she couldn't have with her mother. And for a moment I think they are maybe congratulating my friends. Nope. Excuse me, may I ask a favor? We all look at each other confused. Sure? Could my daughter have that ring? Now I've heard some pretty dumb things in my life, and I've dealt with entitled mothers before, but this one takes the cake as the most ridiculous. What? No! The entitled mother doesn't take that as an answer and continues talking, saying that her daughter needs the ring. When my daughter's ex-husband proposed, he didn't give her a real ring. She needed a real one to feel like a real bride. That ruined their whole wedding and marriage. It shocked me that the woman thought my friend, all of us at the table being broke college students, would have enough money to buy a real wedding ring. It wasn't either. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but you can't have the ring. Wait, you said ex-husband, right? Why does she need the ring if she's not even married anymore? Because a wife gets to keep an engagement ring even after the divorce. Everyone knows that, silly. But why do you need my ring? I'm reaching my 30s. It's too late for me to find love and marry again. I need a ring to remind me that I'm still worthy. But what about the ring that you got from the divorce? At this point, I found it hard that she had ever been engaged at all. Because it wasn't real. I need a real one. Well, this ring isn't real diamond either, if that's what you're looking for. No college student can afford that. The entitled daughter tried to take hold of the girlfriend's hands. I think maybe to see the ring by the look on her face of shock when she was told it was real, or maybe take it by force. But we had enough of her and all told the mother and daughter to leave. As they left, the mother yelled at all of us and told my two friends that their marriage would be a train wreck. Not as much as your gold digger daughter's marriage. This set off entitled daughter. She didn't charge at us, but she looked like a bull about to. I've never seen a grown woman have such a fit in her life. She threw a tantrum for a good 5 minutes before stomping off. It ruined the rest of the day for us, but my friends were so strong and are planning to marry later in the year after they graduate. And our last story today is entitled sister tries to steal an unborn baby. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going back on Reddit again, and my save, I saved all the stories I saved so I can come back to later, and now it's just not working. So I'm just gonna probably just find any random one right here, and yeah, so I'm sorry. I had some pretty good stories, and I just lost them now, basically. Sorry about that, but anyway, let's get into this other story. Alright, so I found one. This one's really long, and the video was already about, 10 minutes, and this is super long, so this probably will be the last story. I'm sorry, but anyway, I'm just gonna shut up and let's get into the story. So this happened about 3 years ago to my boyfriend's sister-in-law. For the purpose of the story, I'll be referring to her as my sister-in-law as well. Main cast: me, take a guess, boyfriend. Sissy is sister-in-law. Bill is brother-in-law, married to sis. Okay, this is just confusing stuff. Entitled sister, Mill and Phil, mother-in-law and father-in-law. So the brother-in-law and my sister-in-law announced that they were expecting their first child after all the presents they had been opened on Christmas Day. Everyone was elated and couldn't wait for the new addition to the family. Weeks passed and the pregnancy was going very well. Then it was time for the gender reveal. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law have been expressing that they wanted a little girl, and they wanted to name her after Sissy's mother, who has passed away. Everyone was on board and hoping for little bits of pink confetti to fall from the balloon when it popped. But then boom,
Blue confetti. Everyone was a bit stunned and then regained their excitement. A baby boy. Entitled sister took notice of the moment of stunned silence and determined that it was in disappointment. This is when she made her move. She pulled brother-in-law aside and started to talk to him. "I'm so sorry that you won't be getting your little girl. It's okay, we aren't upset about it. You know, I could take him off your hands for you if you want." Brother-in-law laughs nervously. Yeah, you can have him sometimes." Entitled girl smiles widely. "Really? Oh, my girls will be so happy." She has 2 daughters, ages 6 and 8. Brother-in-law: "I mean, he'll be their cousin, so they'll get to see him." Entitled sister then ran back to where her husband and daughters were and started talking gleefully to them. Brother-in-law didn't think any of it until 2 weeks later, when the first set of partially filled out adoption papers were received in the mail. Sister-in-law went off on brother-in-law, thinking he had promised away their child. She was so livid that her whole body was shaking and her face was bright red. Brother-in-law explained that he just told entitled sister that he could babysit him and have him do a day or so when they needed help. So sister-in-law calmed down a bit and they put the adoption papers away. After the third set of adoption papers were received, everyone sort of started to shout out entitled sister, and she wasn't invited to the baby shower for fear that she would make a scene. That is exactly what she did. She showed up to the baby shower, pounding on the door, screaming that we threw a party for her baby and didn't include her. We all ignored her, hoping that she would go away, but this only made it worse. After the banging on the front door stopped, we all assumed she had left. This was until we heard footsteps from the kitchen, and then saw entitled sister and her daughters running into the living room. The girls made a dash for the present table and tried to grab as much as they could, while entitled sister began screaming at sister-in-law that she had no right to keep her from her son's baby shower. Boyfriend and I stopped the girls from getting the present and tried to calmly explain that the whole situation was a misunderstanding and that brother-in-law and sister-in-law were keeping their baby. "But that's not fair. You don't even want a boy. And I already told my girls that they were getting a brother." Entitled sister daughters looked very confused and the younger one was crying. Brother-in-law: "Well, you should have told them that. He's our son and we're keeping him. You need to leave now." Entitled sister puts up a fight and even spat at sister-in-law and called her a whore, but father-in-law and boyfriend managed to drag her out, followed by mother-in-law and the little girls. We all knew this wouldn't be the end of it, and as it got closer to sister-in-law's due date, we all agreed not to tell entitled sister until they were home from the hospital and settled in. But entitled sister still had one more trick up her sleeve. Sister-in-law went into labor very early in the morning, and after 11 hours, their baby boy was born. He was, and still is, perfect. Once they were home and just started to get settled, they got a knock on the door. It was Child Protective Services. We have received some information that we need to investigate. Brother-in-law and sissy knew right away that this was entitled sister, but since they had nothing to hide, they allowed CPS to look around the house. They found nothing and left. After 2 days later, they were back and the same scenario occurred. For 4 weeks, CPS was there almost every other day, until brother-in-law and sister-in-law received a summons to court. Entitled sister was filing for custody of the baby. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law knew what her plan was. Entitled sister was hoping that they wouldn't show up to court because it was silly and that the judge would make a default judgment in her favor. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law arrived at court after dropping off their son with mother-in-law. Entitled sister was a bit shocked, but her and her lawyer presented the case, saying that in only 4 weeks they had CPS call them on 6 times by anonymous neighbors who claimed that they were letting the baby cry for hours and that they didn't have any food for the baby. They stated that brother-in-law and sissy were clearly not ready to be parents and that entitled sister just wanted to give the baby a loving home. The judge took a look at the CPS papers and saw that nothing was found. "In your case," he said, pointing to the folder that brother-in-law and sister-in-law had in front of them, "My sister, entitled sister, asked me on the day of our gender reveal if she could take the baby off our hands, and I assumed she meant that she wanted to babysit him, so I agreed. Then she proceeded to send us multiple copies of adoption forms and showed up to the uninvited baby shower and demanded that we hand our baby over because she had already told her daughter that they were getting him. And I had a feeling that she was the one who placed all those cards, seeing as our neighbors haven't been over to our house to know if we had food for him, and they understand that babies cry." He presented the judge with half-filled out adoption forms, and the judge ruled in brother-in-law and sister-in-law's favor. Entitled sister stood there confident until the second the judge dismissed the case, and then she broke down in tears. After a year of not talking to each other, entitled sister reaches out to the brother-in-law and apologized. She told him that she had found out that she wouldn't be able to have any more children, and she went a bit crazy. She explained that she knew that it wasn't a good excuse for her behavior, but she missed her brother and wanted to fix things. Brother-in-law happily agreed, and now entitled sister is back in the family and is a wonderful auntie to the baby boy. Update, sister-in-law is now expecting her second child after months of being told she couldn't have any more kids due to her endometriosis. Is also pregnant. Win-win. Update 2, Sissy is expecting a girl and entitled sister is expecting a little boy. They both decided to get blood tests to find out their genders early. Entitled sister's pregnancy is going very well despite her medical issues. They are both due in the later half of this year. Okay, so that story was a little weirdly formatted for myself, mostly because like the dialogue is kind of in the same paragraph, so it's kind of weird, and this was really long. To be honest, I'm really out of breath. I had to spend maybe 1 or 2 minutes just deep breathing. But this story is crazy. Like, going to court because you thought that your brother said that you can have her baby, like, his baby. What? It's just so crazy. I mean, if I said, yeah, you can babysit them, like, you could say out loud, yeah, you can have them for a while. Babysit them, you know? That's just a crazy story. And this is 8 minutes long. Jesus, this video is gonna be freaking humongous. So I got like 3 stories in. I'm probably gonna do way more in my next video, but that's it for today's video. I know it was only 3 stories, but these stories were really long. It's about what, like maybe 10-11 minutes long, so super long for my liking. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. The screenshots, like, I tried to screenshot the stories, but they were just so small, so I just copy pasted them into Notepad and took screenshots of it, like, you know what r/ does, kind of. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm sorry if I did it a little bad, because I haven't done this before, but if you guys want to see more in the future, make sure you can subscribe. I know I already have like 300 subscribers. Make sure we get to like 400 pretty soon. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for next video.